Yeah. Boom to the hay, all you sports fans out there. The Tubosphere to you, the individual, as part of the collective. Welcome to Fast Track Sports Rock College here on Talk Radio version of the OMSR. I am your brief but concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN sports thrill. Always do a little show like this and like that. Let you know the clip order coming up and the wise to wherefores as a courtesy. Plus you get the quickie sport rant to the segment. So, talk briefly and concisely about that time of year where the OMSR spends a lot of time helping to build up the tension starting right now. This is the month of this show, April to the end of August. College football spring news and such. This is the baseline show, part one. All right, the last little bit of reporting I'll do on this. All the video highlights courtesy to ESPN and College Football Live, everything else to the OMSR. I like to take little good sound bites and stuff going on there. Think of this as like ESPNW. Again, part one, a continuation of the discussion of the NCAA and their silly ass rules in the past about stipends with regard to food, and how that in contrast relates to unionization of players vis-a-vis the Northwestern decision. Part two, who's going to take over for Johnny M at Texas A&M? And beautiful timing there, excuse me. Some players coming back. Don't call it a comeback year, just call it a year you forgot about me last year. And then in parts three, players, most notably quarterbacks with some intangibles, and they're doing what at Georgia to inspire the defense? Donald who? Alright, maybe he played football in his past, I'm not sure. Alright, on the quickie sport rant to the segment. If you're watching parts 2 or 3, go back and see part 1. If you're on part 1,
number 2, and the A&M offense will be going to work. MANZIEL into the end zone. Touchdown. Here goes Johnny Football. MANZIEL fires. Caught. Touchdown Aggies. Pressure coming, but no problem for Johnny MANZIEL. MANZIEL, here it goes. Touchdown. MANZIEL, Evans, Hobbs. Houdini does it again. That's why they love him here in College Station.
Well, with Johnny MANZIEL taking his talents to the next level, a job is open at Texas A&M, but it will not go to Matt Jokel. The redshirt junior, who played in 4 games last season, throwing for about 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, will transfer. The competition at quarterback now falls to Kenny Hill and Kyle Allen. Now, Hill played in 4 games last season, but he has been suspended indefinitely after getting arrested for public intoxication. So that leaves Allen, the #1 quarterback in the ESPN 300.
Best quarterback recruit that Kevin Sumlin has ever had.
But still, he's a true freshman.
But he's made great strides. He's
okay.
Big
Can this team win without Johnny?
Well, not just about the quarterback. I know Johnny MANZIEL seemed to have win a lot of games on his own.
Well,
but they have to replace a
they
left
lost
tackle,
Mike
a
Evans.
running back, a wide receiver.
That's right. Mike Evans, a wide receiver. I mean, he and Johnny together, 2 guys on 11, pulled a lot of those games out of the fire. And when you talk about, though, it's not just on the quarterback. To me, the big concern is on defense. Because last year, part of the reason all these SportsCenter highlights were of Johnny MANZIEL and Mike Evans and Texas A&M's offense was because the defense gave up points on a basketball level and required that offense to come back in a furious frenzy to try to come back and win the game. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. The defense has to get better.
Yeah, I mean, they allowed 476 yards a game, and they allowed 222 rushing yards a game. So it was Johnny MANZIEL that was able to bring them back. If they don't have that, are they just getting blasted every single week?
There's some good options here. Kenny Hill is a dual threat. He is familiar with the style of offense that Kevin Sumlin ran. He's got a very calm demeanor. He's got a firm grasp of the playbook. And Kyle Allen made tremendous strides as an early enrollee. Showed the great ability to throw the deep ball, is more mobile than people realize. This is an outstanding competition. The writing was on the wall for Jokel. They might have to tweak their offense a little bit. You know, they really wanted to exploit MANZIEL's dynamic running. You might see a little bit more of what you saw in the Case Keenum, Houston, Kevin Sumlin offense with a lot of quick passing. The one thing that Kevin Sumlin will always be able to do, and he's been doing it, is stockpile explosive athletes. And they have a guy coming in at tight end. They have a shifty guy who can play running back and wide receiver. So there's some new toys for Kevin Sumlin.
And they're young. They're young toys. They need to be fully baked. I mean, a lot of these guys don't even shave yet. On defense last year, I went back and looked at the depth chart of the front 7 linebackers and defensive linemen for the Rice game, the opener last year. Half of the depth chart in the front 7 for A&M were freshmen. Half were freshmen. And I remember watching that Rice game and seeing how Rice was pushing A&M's defenders all over the field. And it's like, no disrespect to Rice, but they're Rice. And so those guys are all a year older now, and they actually performed much better this spring.
And they will continue to do that. In 2012, they had the 15th highest recruiting class in the nation, and then it was the 8th ranked recruiting class, and then the 4th ranked recruiting class. So maybe that's a little Manziel effect as well. Speaking Olsen gets us thinking, though, about other guys we may have forgotten about, some transfers, some guys that missed last year. Joe, who stands out to you?
Well, Jacoby Brissett. You remember Charlie Weiss was his offensive coordinator at the University of Florida. He was beaten out by Jeff Driscoll. He has looked great this spring. 365 passing yards, 2 long touchdowns in the spring game. 6'4", strong arm, quick feet, natural leadership abilities. Dave Dorn with that NC State offense that struggled so badly last year, and now they finally have their guy.
You know, Georgia receiver Malcolm Mitchell was injured in the opener against Clemson last year, and then he was not available. And the fact that he's back is almost like a fantastic recruit coming back, because all of a sudden, new starting quarterback Hudson Mason has another deep threat, another receiver who's experienced and can make plays, to go with another guy coming back from injury, Justin Scott Worley, and you add that to Todd Gurley and the rest of these skill people, Georgia should have one of the most potent offenses in the conference.
Mason told me on Saturday, I'm not trying to win a Heisman, I just got to get it to the guys around me.
Yeah, I mean, Mitchell was second leading receiver as a true freshman, then once again as a sophomore. He'll be back. Another guy, Austin Hill at Arizona, missed most of last year with an ACL. He's coming back as a sophomore. He caught 81 balls, nearly 1,400 yards. Well, when we come...